Well, kia ora, Pastor Sajan. Tremendous to have you today talking about missional incarnation. I know you've been doing some amazing things down in your church. And so we just love to hear initially what you're doing in a nutshell. And then after that, we'll go a little bit deeper. So I'll pass over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Pastor Darren, for having me. We planted our church about 11 years ago, and we are a very multi-ethnic, multicultural group. And I constantly tried to raise up leaders who would actually take some responsibility. But at the same time, I also have a heart for starting or planting new churches. And I couldn't figure out how to go about it. And then I came across this MM33 as they started teaching, and suddenly the things just started falling into place. And since that, we have been able to plant three more services. Two are already started. The third one we are launching in the starting of new year, 2026. We have now got a Malayalam service going and also a Maori fellowship going as well. So that's in a nutshell of where we are going. But we are already working on the next one, that is a Filipino congregation. So those are the things
Awesome.
that are going on. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that's super cool to hear. So let's start off. If you could share a little bit more about the Maori Fellowship, how that got started, who's been involved, and what you've noticed so far.
So, as I said, my congregation is very multi-ethnic. But I have, since I arrived here, my heart has been for Maori people, the Tangata Whenua, but I didn't know how to go about it. And there are some very, some highly gifted people in my congregation, but they were not missional. They didn't have the leadership qualities. They were fluent in Tareo, but that's where it stopped. And then, as I said, MM33 has been a key part in what God is doing for us, because I started seeing in them the apest giftings. And as soon as I saw the apest giftings, I pulled them all together and formed a small leadership team. So I've got a three-member leadership team. They're all Tangata Whenua, or they're all Maoris, and I've given them and positioned them in a leadership team. They all have equal roles, but we flow with what is the gift on their life. So one of them is very prophetic in the prophetic sense and also in the epist. The other one is very strongly pastoral, and the third one is very strongly teacher. And we are still working on the teacher, getting the gift going a little bit more. But as soon as I put this team into place, I knew that the rest of it will start following. So we set up a team, and we started off by just having only the Maoris in my church into a separate group. We meet on a Friday night, and we started having a service just with them, so that we could figure out how we will organize the service, because we didn't want them to follow the traditional pattern. We wanted them to do a service which is comfortable for them. And we also connected with Pastor Pare in Hamilton,
Okay.
took her input, and various others who have already done it. But we didn't want to follow
Mm,
any particular model as well, because in
yeah,
my congregation, the Maoris are from different hapus,
yeah, yeah.
and Iwi. So trying to get into a marae was not going to work for us. So
Mm,
we decided to see how we could actually work with what we have. Now we have come to a stage where we are ready to go to the next level. I'm ready to starting to look at what date we will go public, that we
mm.
have got a fellowship. We are aiming at doing a major outreach on Matariki, because we know God is the creator of all these things, and so we are going to position the whole festival as a major outreach into the community, and we have started the planning for that. So that's
Okay,
what.
okay, that's great. I'd love to like obviously you've taken on the missional DNA of Alan Hirsch, and you talked about APEST. Um, can you just give me a little bit more around how you identify their giftings, and you talked about how you were starting to utilize those giftings, but maybe just give us a bit more on that in relation to this fellowship.
So, I have been I have been familiar with the language of EPIST for a while, but Alan Hirsch brought a little more sharpness into my understanding. So I had to unlearn what I had learned previously, and I had to take on what he has said. I got them, all of them, to test their EPIST, undergo their testing, and then got them to send their reports to me. I deliberately have restrained myself from doing any teaching on EPIS to them because I want them to function in it first. And then when I will explain it to them, it will make more sense to them. Otherwise, they'll try and fit themselves into whatever gifting they have. So they know what their gifting is in terms of EPIS, but they don't know what it actually means. And I'm just, that's the next stage where I will take them. I'm still looking for my apostle, and I'm also still looking for my, the other gift
Mm,
as well, servant
mm,
gift as well. So that's where we are working on. But it has given tremendous momentum. And as soon as I gave them the responsibility,
mm.
so the prophet one, I tell her that God speaks to you through dreams, visions, things like that. Flow in it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Flow in it. Don't worry about it. Uh,
Mm,
and that is something that I keep telling them. Just flow according to your gifting. I give them responsibility. So they take turns in preaching every Friday night. One of them brings a communion message. And so
mm,
that's how we are, doing it. One of them leads worship, so they are
yeah,
very gifted in worship. And then we
yeah.
have incorporated they also, as I said, they have incorporated their cultural things as well.
Mm,
So
mm.
when we were originally planning, we told them that we have a plumb line, and the plumb line is Jesus. Everything
Yeah,
has to,
yeah,
again, that is MM33 for you.
yeah, yeah.
Everything has to be centered. Whatever you bring cultural aspect, measure it up against where is Jesus in this?
Yeah,
How do we bring Jesus into this? Every action that you do, how do you flow with Jesus in it? So,
yeah.
um, yeah, so
Okay. So, Sergeant, I'm just interested. I mean, that's fantastic. Jesus is Lord, right at the center of mDNA. But can I ask you, in beginning to shift and develop this new service, like you're saying that you've got two underway now, you've got a third you're looking to launch as well. Were there any particular issues that you faced within the kind of the mother church that you had to work through?
um, So we started talking this for the last 2+ years. But we kept talking about it, but we didn't have a specific direction unless we started hearing about MM33. And it was MM33 that it was like the key that unlocked everything. So we had started talking about that we will launch this, we will launch this, but I would get pushback in the sense, like I wouldn't get people putting their hands up saying this is what I'm available to do this. But as soon as I got the EPIST gifting thing and I started putting them into little groups of leadership, then they started taking ownership.
Mm,
And so, did we lose a couple of people? Yes, we did, because they were not comfortable, the church being split into smaller divisions. So, but I tried to explain to them that we are not splitting them up. All we are doing is we are becoming very missional in the way we do it. So Sunday, we still all of us come together. On other days, we are doing so. The whole purpose, they have got the vision now that the purpose on meeting Friday night is to reach the unreached. The Friday
wow,
night
that's
meetings are
fantastic.
not for us to come together to have a good kai. No, that's not the purpose. The vision is very clear that this is where, and I told them very clearly, even like this morning, I had a meeting with them. I
Mm,
said, we are not looking for Maoris from other churches. It's
mm,
purely
mm,
unchurched people that we are looking for. And that's how. So we are doing bite-size
mm.
things. And again, I thank God for Holy Spirit because He guides us, every
Yes,
step of the
yes.
way, just guiding us. And so
Mm.
it's starting, and we can feel the momentum,
Yeah.
people have taken ownership of everything that we are doing, and now the others are also getting excited because they can see,
Mm,
because now these people are starting to rise up as leaders, as
yeah.
preachers.
Mm,
So, like, from the Malayalam fellowship, I found that some of them were great preachers in Malayalam, but they
mm,
couldn't translate that into English that would actually have the same impact. So they speak in Malayalam, I interpret for them
Mm,
in English, and I've started bringing them into the main service. So
mm,
communion, they are practicing, how to bring a very practical communion message
yeah.
in these fellowships, and then we bring them onto the
Mm,
larger service. So everybody is able to see actually these people are growing very fast. So now
yeah.
I'm gathering all of them in 2 weeks' time. The rest who are not in any of these
Mm.
extended fellowship, I'm trying to get them together so that we can start talking. Hey, how do we position you so that we can get into the missional
Okay. So you've really utilized mDNA, the APS, Jesus Law, the missional incarnational as a way of developing your leaders. Do you want to talk a little bit more into your leadership development thinking?
yeah. So honestly, about say 4 years ago, I called up Pastor Terry and said, Pastor Terry, I'm struggling to raise leaders in my church. I've tried all possible techniques that I know. And so I even underwent a training with him. And then suddenly we found last year, 9 of them came forward and said, Pastor, we are ready for the next stage. So here, I tried for many years to raise up leaders. Suddenly they started emerging, but I didn't know how to put them, where to put them. So I said, yes, I'm praying you all in as leaders, but I didn't know how to position them, what to do. And again, I believe in fasting and praying, and then MM33 happened. So that just gave me the impetus into the leadership. So I'm working with each cultural group leaders separately. I'm not mixing them all together because each one has a different flavor.
Mm,
Each one hears differently, each one works differently, each one has, so I'm just working with each team because they are just starting to emerge into leadership. They have been in church for a while, but they're starting to emerge into their own leadership
mm,
understanding. Because it's very easy for us to assume that they have been in church for long and they know what leadership is. But as soon as you start talking to them, you realize that actually they are churched, they are well churched, but they don't understand
mm,
leadership, what it takes to be a leader. I can give you some very specific examples of what that looks like. So, for example, we have this person who is highly prophetic, and this person is highly prophetic. She is a seer, and she see things and all that. But she is also very highly non-relational. But as soon as I put her into a position of leadership and I started explaining as a leader what is expected from you, how do you deal with people? Because at the end of the day now, she's not just an attendee, she's actually one who is nurturing. She's started to move from that position of being an attendee to being a mother in the church, starting to build relationship with people, complete transformation
mm,
in total
mm,
behavior,
That's
uh,
great, Sajan.
still operating in
Mm,
the gifts,
yeah.
but
Mm,
the
yeah. Yeah.
letting the walls down,
Yeah.
starting to interact with people at a
Mm,
greater heart to heart
yeah.
level. Like
That's
I've had
great.
people come and talk to me saying, Pastor, she looks past through me, past me. It's like I don't even exist. And the same person in now
Yeah.
has become highly relational.
That's
As
awesome.
soon as
That's
we raised
awesome.
them into leadership and
Mm,
started putting some input into them,
very
complete
good.
transformation.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, Sajan. So, you were talking about Matariki as being a key moment in launching the Māori Fellowship. So, I would just love to hear a bit more about what you're doing and
Yeah.
how that's going to look.
Because there are lots of I understand the non-godly part of Matariki or the way it is being celebrated, and there is a godly way of doing it as well. Because at the end of the day, God is the God of all creations. He is the one who has created everything.
Mm,
We will be targeting specifically that we believe who are not highly into the traditional way of looking at things. They are on the fringes of their understanding of things, and so we are going to invite that. We'll be targeting those kind of people
mm,
who want to be part of the culture, but they don't have an understanding, and that's where we think they'll come as a blank sheet for us to write on. We are not going to pick on those who are already highly involved in the deeper cultural aspects of it. So that's how we are going to position
Mm,
our maturity. Will we go down deeper for those who are deeply culturally involved? Yes, we will. Once my main team stabilizes, they are spiritually stronger,
mm,
then we will start targeting that at a
mm.
much bigger level.
Hmm. Okay.
You know.
Okay. I'm just we're gonna wrap things up shortly, but I'd love to hear what you're noticing about the way that the church, this new expression is how they're relating. Like, you talked about the differences around culture, but have you noticed that there's a different kind of way of forming from a Maori perspective?
Yes, yeah. So as I said, I got input from Pastor Pare and her
Mm,
team,
mm,
and I understood that. So the way an Indian church would or Malayali church would function, we are more into a theater or a classroom kind of setting.
mm, mm,
We enjoy a speaker saying things from the front and responding. That's a kind of service that they will enjoy. They need deeper revelation and things like that. For my Maori fellowship, we like to sit in a circle,
mm,
talk, have a korirua. So, it's like, they will share things. And then, like on this Friday, our seer had got a word from God, and God was saying that I am going to bring people back on the dining table, and you will not be solo anymore. And so many of them understood that, it is like, it was like God was saying that I'm going to give you a husband, or that kind of thing. And so the conversation opened up. So many of them are single, or struggling in their relationship. That conversation opened up, and then because I was there, I said, no, that is a part of what God is saying. The bigger part is He's saying that you will no longer be an orphan. I'm
mm,
going to be your father. You will be sitting on my table, and as a father, I'm going to feed you. And that brought it up the discussion. So there is the preaching that happens, and it's like then it turns into a Bible study kind of thing, a discussion kind of thing. So that's very different. Again, I'm working on my Filipino congregation as well. There
mm,
again, I understand how the Filipino culture, a little bit of how Filipino culture operates. They like food, they like karaoke, they like, so it will be
mm.
a mixture of all these further events. So each one will be culturally very different.
Yeah,
Just understanding those kind of things.
yeah.
Pastor, another thing that I have told my leadership is that yes, you will be the core leaders, but we'll also have each group will have an oversight which will be made up of people from other cultures. So you're
Okay.
never independent, but you're
Mm,
always independent.
very
It's
good.
like, there is this
Mm,
overarching link that is going on all the time. So,
mm,
you're part of the main body, but you're not
mm.
not subject to the main body, but you are still subject and
Yeah.
connected with the main body. Yeah.
That's tremendous, Pastor. I just want to commend you and honor the work that you're doing in this area. It's just fabulous to hear the way that you're reaching out missionally and now seeking to go deep in these incarnational expressions within different cultures and ethnicities. So thank you so much for your time. I know that this will lead to many other conversations. We've only scratched the surface today, but thank you so much, Pastor.
Thank you.